Every game has its own story, but not all of them are told with words. In Ultra Kill, it's the music that becomes the main storyteller. It conveys fear, hope, hatred, and strength. R.C. Patala, better known by his nickname Hakira, is a video game developer and composer from Finland. His most famous project is Ultra Kill, a game he created almost entirely on his own. In the beginning, the concept, code, and even the entire soundtrack were composed by him personally, except for a few tracks. When Ultra Kill first entered development, it was the distant year of 2018. At that time, Hakira had no idea that arena shooters, the very genre Ultra Kill belongs to, would soon be drawn to metal music like a magnet. There was still a full year to go before that happened, so he set his sights on heavy guitar riffs. They fit perfectly with what was happening on screen. Hakira played the guitar himself, handled the bass too, and while he couldn't play drums, there was a problem for future Hakira. For now, a few guitar tracks were enough. But time passed, development stretched on, the Doom Eternal was released, and with it came a wave of full-scale metallization across the entire shooter genre. By the time Hakira returned to think about the soundtrack, shredding guitar riffs for a bloody FPS had already become a worn-out cliché. So, solving two problems at once, he turned to the Amen Break, a legendary drum loop recorded in the 1960s and sampled for decades. It gave the soundtrack a new sense of rhythm and identity. From that moment, the music of Ultra Kill began to drift towards something far more original. It was only the beginning. A few tracks later, the guitar riff started to fade away entirely. In one composition, a clavikin appeared, amplifying the atmosphere of a gothic castle where the player was trapped in a battle. In another, Hakira teamed up with the saxophonist Hetzel Tirada, and jazz found its way into Ultra Kill.
Саундтрек Ultra Kill оказался настолько разнообразным, что включил в себя огромный спектр жанровых вплетений, начиная от непосредственно металла и прог-рока и заканчивая джазом и классикой, признанной общественным достоянием.
And all of it stemmed from one reason.
Let's start with the story itself. In Ultra Kill, you are not the main character. You are a machine, a force that drives the story forward. And the best track that captures your essence, Altars of Apostasy. This piece reflects a haunting realization that you have no higher purpose, no divine mission. You move forward simply to survive. The repeating guitar riffs in the background echo that endless cycle, mirroring your only action, killing. Over and over again. The main riff rises and falls like a wave, a subtle nod to classical music, adding depth and gravity to the atmosphere. But the true protagonist of Ultra Kill's story is Gabriel, the Archangel. He has two themes, both radiating divine power and majesty. through faint choirs and soaring strings. Yet the second track places greater focus on the violin, expressing Gabriel's inner conflict and tragedy, the turmoil of a divine being questioning his own righteousness. And here lies Hakira's greatest musical technique, the use of leitmotifs. But first, what is a leitmotif? It's a recurring musical theme associated with a specific person, idea, or event. Leitmotifs connect moments and characters, weaving the narrative together through sound alone. At first, notable leitmotif is Requiem, the theme of the layer of lust. At first, it sounds simple, almost unassuming, but its true brilliance appears later, when the same melody is reused in the theme of that layer's ruler. It's almost identical, yet with a slightly different instrumentation, transforming it into a piece filled with sorrow, tragedy, and the weight of unfulfilled duty. The second major leitmotif belongs to the layer of greed. Just like before, the first time you hear it, it seems ordinary, but when you face the ruler of that layer, and the same theme returns twisted. Intensified, the feeling changes completely. Now, past tragedy, you feel rage and fury. These are only a few of the musical techniques used in Ultrakill. Many others, subtle motives, sound design choices, and ambient cues remain beyond the scope of this film. And even without techniques, he can tell the story. Every note in Ultrakill tells a story of creation, of conflict, of something lost. But unlike most games, the story isn't about victory or defeat. It's about emotion, anger, guilt, despair, and purpose.